Roberto Sanchez is back with us to discuss Scientology after leaving Scientology and how he is trying to reach the Spanish-speaking market worldwide to explain to them what Scientology is, what the story of L. Ron Hubbard is, what the abuses are like. We're going to discuss that in detail with him. And then we're going to get into a discussion about the future of Scientology after David Miscavige and what direction do we think Scientology may be going in the future. I hope you find this video interesting and informative. Stay tuned. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our channel, Scientology Peeling the Onion. My name is Mark Fisher. I'm here with my co-host, Janis Gillham Grady. How you doing today, Janis?
Good, Mark. Good day, everybody, and welcome to Scientology Peeling the Onion. And Mark, who swung at you?
Oh yeah, you want to know about this up here, right? Yeah. Well, I got involved in a mixed martial arts fight this weekend. You know what I mean? Just working out and that type of thing. And I just kind of scraped it up, but the other guy's worse for the wear.
You lie.
Actually, no, that's not true. Yesterday I took my dog out and we had a record amount of rain on Saturday here, like a record, like over half an inch of rain, which is unusual. Anyway, I slipped on some mud, like I was wet grass, and I hit my head against the doorway and scraped it. So it's okay. It was a scrape, but it looks kind of yucky. So I just put the bandage on it. So anyway, so don't worry about me. I'm okay.
Good to know.
Yeah. And then the other thing that happened this weekend is that Janis and I went to the wedding of two of our good friends, one of which some of you viewers may know from this Scientology and the Sea organization. His name is Tom Provenzano, and here's a picture of the bride and groom. That's Tom on the left, and that's his bride, Sita. And I've known Janis, a little bit longer than you, like 1978. Yeah. I met you shortly after that. But Tom and I have been friends, 47 years. And he actually, we met, he was in senior HCO at the time at the Flag Land Base in Clearwater. He was brought down from New York, from the New York org. And he was made the senior master at arms or ethics officer for the whole base. And I was the LRH communicator for the estates organization. And we became friends then. But then we kind of followed each other. He went into management at the, in the International Management Org under Kerry Gleason. And he was like a West US manager in the management unit. And then I came over as an evaluator. And then when I eventually moved to AVC, which was the Authorization, Verification, and Correction Unit, first in Clearwater, and then up the base, the first time I went up to the international base in Gillham Hot Springs, and it was set up in RTC. Tom was the person that I brought up with me. I was allowed to bring up 2 or 3 people, and I grabbed Tom. I grabbed a girl named Kathy Andraka and some other people. And so Tom then ended up at the international base, eventually becoming the cameraman for the Cine, the movies unit in the 1980s. And then he left about almost a year before we did, or 6 months before we did. And he's been out ever since. And we reconnected, he and I reconnected it, a few years later. And he's now retired, lives here in Las Vegas, and he's been very successful.
I didn't meet him until he got up to the base, but Paul knew him because Paul was handling medical officer stuff, and Tom got really sick, and Paul basically saved Tom's life and got him to the doctors and took care of him because nobody else was. Anyway, I think Paul was actually like the purification in charge, but everyone went to him when they got sick. Anyway, and then, he only lives, 7 minutes down the road from me. So it's very convenient, and we pop over there. He comes over here, and we travel together. We did a 21-day cruise to Panama, he and Sita. Sita is from Brazil and lived in Hawaii and moved here just as COVID was happening. So we became good friends through her relationship with Tom, and Paul and I knowing her. And yeah, there's Zita with the wedding cake, and myself in the red, and my travel buddy Cheryl. A lot of people know Cheryl Detcheff. She's also ex-Sea Org. There's Tom and Cheryl. And yeah, we have
it was
fun group. Yeah.
Yeah, and Tom, I helped Tom do the mortgage for the house that he bought here in Las Vegas, and he bought the house. It was owned by Siegfried and Roy. It was one of their guest houses, not on their property. There's actually the neighborhood next to it, and so a lot of the furniture that he has, he actually bought from Siegfried and Roy as well, because they didn't want it, and so he offered them some money for it, and they took it. But he's really built a great retirement life. This is his first wedding. And he met Sita 32 years ago, a long time ago, but then they reconnected when COVID hit. She came to visit Las Vegas, and then COVID hit, and then that's how they reconnected. Go ahead, Janis.
Now, some people might not know who Siegfried and Roy are, but they were the magicians with the white tigers at the Mirage. Now, both of them have passed on now, but that's who they were. And so the neighborhood Tom is in used to be land that was owned by them, which they had that house and other houses on, and they decorated them and
put in a swimming pool. It's really nice. And then the other thing too is one of the guests, who's a friend of ours, gave because the house was bought from Siegfried and Roy, gave Sita and Tom a life-size stuffed tiger, like a plush, like a toy, like a stuffed animal, not like a real tiger, but it looks so real. I mean, I took photographs of it, and they put it by the fireplace, and if you're standing 10 feet away, it looks like there's a tiger laying there next to the fireplace. It's really cool.
And Sita did a little wrestling and sat on him, and he was the life of the party.
Yeah, and we had fun. It was a fun day, despite the rain, and then it had a nice reception, a lot of friends and people. So anyway, so we just want to say congratulations to Tom and Sita. And for those of you that remember Tom Provenzano, that's what's going on.
Okay.
All right, Janis, why don't you tell everybody about who our guest is today?
Okay, well, we've interviewed this gentleman once before, this senor from Barcelona, Spain. And let's get Roberto Sanchez.
How you doing?
Good. Excellent. What about you?
Oh, yeah. No, it's good. It's gotten cold here for us,
I've been here also the same.
And
you got a coat on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's also a little bit cold here in Barcelona.
Now, do you live in Barcelona?
Yes. We have a house also. We have a house also in Mexico. We have a house in the Riviera Maya in Mexico. We have a house here in Barcelona. And sometimes we're going back and forth. So now in this time we are here visiting the family, but anytime soon we're going to go there also.
And also, if you don't mind my telling everybody, you actually just finished working on like a super yacht in the Mediterranean for several years, right?
Oh, yeah. It was like
you and your whole family,
years. Yeah. So my sister, my wife, we were working together in the same yacht. It was like 4 years in a row in the same yacht. It was a huge 65-meter exploration yacht. I was doing all the engineering related stuff there. It was a team of engineers. It's not only one engineer. So it's an amazing job. It's very demanding. It's a lot of hard work. And you're all the time there. You're all the time there in the boat. Sometimes you are 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row just navigating through the oceans, and it's amazing because it's like a floating city. So we finished with that boat, and in January I'm gonna start in another one. So that's part of the plans.
So you're doing your own version of the Sea Organization, right?
Exactly. but we don't throw overboard anybody. We don't do that because we go to jail. We go to jail if we do that.
I heard that's now illegal to throw people overboard.
Yeah. No, actually, would go. You would go as a captain, engineer. There's a drill, and we drill this each month. We do the the man overboard drill or
Right.
abandoned ship drill. And per regulations by maritime law, you need to be drilling all this kind of stuff, firefighting, all this kind of stuff. And yes, if there's some man overboard, there's a lot of steps you need to do. So yeah, it's a very serious thing nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
particularly,
but
isn't it the most
back in,
Go ahead, Janice. Go
well,
ahead.
back in 68, when I first joined the Sea Org, Hubbard had people thrown overboard on purpose, and some couldn't swim, and others would dive in and get them, and it was a mess. But now you can't throw people overboard, apparently.
Yes. I'm going to do a joke here. Actually, Hubbard was the reason they implement this kind of laws. I'm joking. I'm joking.
What's that?
He was the reason. Hubbard
Hubbard.
overboard
Oh,
people.
L. Ron Hubbard. Yeah. They heard about it and went, oh, yeah, we got to do this.
No, we need to stop this madness. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Make it international law.
Yeah, that's the joke. Of course, it was not because of him, but yeah, I mean, who would think in something like that? I mean, only LRH.
Yeah, you're throwing people on purpose over the side.
Yeah. It was terrible for sure.
Well, your first interview we did, you got a lot of views on it, and we also had questions and you answered the comments and things like that. Oh, yeah. Was there any that you wanted to respond to here on the video, on this new video?
No. Amazing people doing comments, everybody opinions pro, against what we said. Everything is welcome in this channel. You two guys are like super open to everybody. I mean, for me, it's amazing. All the comments, I was trying to respond to all of them, and it's amazing. The people you have a lot of viewpoints out there, and it's amazing about Scientology.
Yeah. Well, our purpose is basically to put the information out there, because intelligent people can then review it and make their own decisions one way or the other, or whatever. We're not advocating for people to go into Scientology, but we are reporting about the abuses and the things that are not so good about it. And we're also telling people about, people who have had wins or gains from it too. So then, the viewers can make their own decision if they ever want to get involved or not, or if they just want to they're just interested in following it because what's going on.
Exactly.
So anyway, we wanted to bring up, you've got a YouTube channel, right, that we were going to show. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, I want to speak a bit about it, because for all the English speaking persons out there, all the public in your channel, for you guys or your viewers, it's very easy to view Scientology as a subject, as something that can be investigated thoroughly, deeply, in your language. Very easy to grab the information in your language. But what your viewers maybe don't know is that in Spanish, for the Spanish-speaking persons, there's like a vacuum of information. There's only the official Church of Scientology version, the critics version, but the critics are people that never have been in Scientology, and they don't understand the subject actually. So I opened the channel. I opened a channel about Scientology in Spanish, and I have like 25 videos explaining technically, that's the YouTube channel, is from a person that was inside and trained, that means me, what is Scientology. And the channel, it says there, Scientology, what you need to know. That's the title of the channel. And my purpose is almost the same that you, Mark, and you, Janis, because I want the people to know what is Scientology, the good, the bad, and the ugly. The three of them, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And they can go into Scientology if they want, but with an informed mindset. They know what they are going into. And of course, a big part of what I'm trying to say there in the channel is Scientology, as it is today, practiced under David Miscavige leadership, of course, in my viewpoint, is very dangerous, and of course is very damaging because of how it's structured. It's more of a cult than a religion. So it's very important that the people knows that if you put emphasis, like David Miscavige does, if you put emphasis in a bad way to apply in Scientology, you're going to get a cult. If you apply it in another way, you can have something that can be a religion. But nowadays it's very dangerous. So that's what I'm trying to show in the channel. And if we go a little bit, Mark, through the videos, I just want to mention a little bit about what's the subject on the videos.
Okay, let me tell me if I'm scrolling down. Is this? Can you see that on the screen?
Yeah, if you can scroll a little bit. Yeah.
Is that okay there?
Yeah. So, for example, in one of those videos, I'm talking about the upper grades of Scientology after clear, after grad 5 on the training side, and after clear. What's all about? What are you gonna find there? But I'm talking about this in a technical way, but also in an understandable way for new people, so they understand. In Spanish. Exactly. Yeah. So nobody's doing that. In the other video, I'm talking about a congress we did in Spain. In this congress, we spoke about how Scientology is being used and applied as a cult nowadays under Miscavige. So in that video, actually, I am part of the board of the anti-cult system from Spain that exists in.
Let me show those photos from that, okay? Right,
exactly.
From that conference.
Exactly. Thank you. That's very important. So that's Stephen Hassan. Many of your viewers know who Stephen Hassan is. He's one of the experts worldwide on cults, and he was there with us. So I was there with him. I was translating a lot of stuff because he's not able to speak Spanish yet. So I was like his translator for the conference. And it was the national police there, and it was the regional police there in the public, listening to us, listening to what we were talking about. A lot of different cults in Spain, not only Scientology, but a lot of different cults. And in Spain, it's very tricky because in Spain, Scientology is registered and accepted as a religion. It's a religion. Same in Mexico, same in Colombia, same in, of course, in USA. But we were telling them, okay, it is registered as a religion, but listen, this is going on. This kind of stuff is happening, and you need to inform to the citizens of the country what's going on. So anyway, those photos there, again, that's Stephen Hassan. I'm there with the public, with people around there in the conference, just talking with them, and we were preparing the conference there. I don't know if you have another photo. Yeah, that was the dinner after the conference, and all of them are members of schools, board members of schools, psychologists, religion experts, cult experts, police members. So it was a lot of the people that we were organizing. The Congress are there in that table. We were having dinner in Madrid.
Roberto, let me ask you a question, since we're here right on this subject. Okay, Steve Hassan, right? He's written Cult, Mind Control, how to get away from it and that type of thing. How he's obviously he's anti-Scientology because it's definitely a cult in his mind. But how did it go interacting with him, because you still believe in a lot of the technology and things that L. Ron Hubbard teaches? So how did that go?
It's a very respectful exchange. The thing is, Mark, the people, Scientology is not an easy subject to explain because it's very wide. We need to understand this. The people that are anti-Scientologists, they don't know exactly what they are opposing to. You and me and Janis, because we know the amplitude of the tech, we know there's some basic stuff, very basic stuff. Actually, a lot of stuff that was not developed by LRH. A lot of things were only arriving to him, and he was like authorizing it. So there's a lot of things that were okay, he got them, he authorized, or the BTVs, all the board telecom bulletins were canceled, and everything was signed by LRH after that. The happiness rundown, it was a lot of other people gathering the information, and then it arrives to LRH, and of course he did it like the final roundup. But the thing is, with Stephen Hassan, for example, when you start talking about Scientology and how it was developed and in what it consists of, the lower grades, the round downs, etc., you can explain them which are the parts that are very cult prone or manipulative subjects prone, and you can explain them which are like very easy subjects, very subjects that are not going to harm anybody, and they start to understand that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, they see the whole thing as a one piece. You see, okay, at the end of the day, it's just Scientology. Everything is bad, everything is damaging. So you need to do a lot of talking, a lot of communication to make them understand that Scientology is a very wide subject and that not everything is equal to all the rest. You know, that's very important to explain for them.
Right.
Yeah. I was going to say, you know, I've used this analogy on the show before, which is that, you know, we were true believers in L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology until the day that we left, you know what I mean, 35 years ago. And then I learned a lot more about L. Ron Hubbard and the lies and things that were told and the abuses. I didn't know a lot of this stuff because we were just basically doing our jobs and carrying forward. So people go, well, could you, you know, still believe in some of this stuff and all that? And I say, well, in my mind, it's like, you know, L. Ron Hubbard was not a perfect person, you know, but like if somebody develops the cure for cancer and they also have been married to like 3 women at the same time and were a terrible husband and father and that type of thing, I'm not going to care about that so much if they cure my cancer. Do you know what I mean? And I'm taking it to an extreme when I use that analogy, but it's like there was good things about it and there were bad things about it. And so I'm just happy that I'm outside of it so that if I want to take advantage of the good things, I can and avoid, you know, the bad things about it with the abuses, David Miscavige, you know, and all that sort of stuff, you know?
Exactly. So exactly that, Mark, is the difficult thing to explain to somebody, but only can be done by somebody that was inside Scientology, because a critic or an expert or an expert psychologist or a religious expert that he studies Scientology from outside,
Yeah.
they are not capable to understand all these kind of things because they didn't live inside this kind
Right.
of stuff. So I don't know
they've
what you
never experienced. They've never experienced it, and when they go in and do get auditing, they've already got their mindset rather than being open to see what happens.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and we had a comment on another video today, Janis, one of our older videos, where the person said, you know, it seems like, you know, the people that were around Hubbard and were in Scientology in those early, you know, 70s, 80s, that type of thing, when he was alive, speak much more positively about L. Ron Hubbard and the technology than the people who came afterwards with Miscavige and all that. And the question was, why is that?
Exactly.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why it is, and that is because Hubbard was very much into getting people to get audited and to go up the bridge and apply Scientology to improve their lives. Where Miscavige, it was all about sec checks, security checking, and find out, well, what is the
what
withhold,
your crimes
what is the
were.
And so that's very different than trying to help someone with their life and their abilities. It's very different to being accusative and everything they do is always wrong. There's no validation there.
Yeah, and then the other factor too is that the OT levels, whether or not people believe in them or not, were confidential to us in Scientology until we reached that level. But in the mid 90s, they were released on the internet, and so a lot of new people and a lot of, you know, staff and all, they're exposed to it at that point, and they go like, ooh, this is crazy, this is wild. Why would I get involved with something like that? You know what I mean? Now, I you know, we could talk about the OT level separately and that type of thing, but it's like, you know, all of a sudden, this stuff that you was kept from you, all of a sudden is out there. So you've got these people who all they had was security checking, and then they hear these wild stories and they go like, oh, everything's bad. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But also the OT3 didn't come out until what, 67?
Mm-hmm.
So all the earlier stuff didn't have anything to do with that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Roberto.
That just said right now, it's super important. For me, a lot of people can disagree, but for me, it was like a different kind of LRH through the time, you know? I think the best version of LRH was the 50s till the mid 60s. And then it started to be the governments after him, the financial situations after him. He started to go on the run. And then he started to develop different kind of tech, more prone to kind of military intelligence prone related stuff. And look at this. That was the time when Miscavige was born, raised, and take over and went into Scientology. That's the version of Scientology he knew. So it was just grabbing that last part. And in the first part of LRH and Scientology, it was lost in the 80s. All these mission holders conferences, they were doing perfectly well in USA. It was huge missions, booming missions, happy people. But then the takeover, the RTC kind of hard hammering to the mission network, and then everything went crashing. So we need to understand these kind of things. And again, nobody that was not inside Scientology can understand this kind of stuff. So I'm sure for you, Mark, I'm sure for you, Janis, for me, it's very hard to explain this kind of stuff. Or Roberto, then you're saying that all Scientology is bad. No. Then you're a Scientologist. No, it's not a black-white situation. Man, listen. So, Mark, your dog is part of the show. Leave him. He's part of the show. Don't suppress him. I'm joking. He's part of the show. We're four here. Anyway, I'm just joking. So, Mark, Janis, that's what I'm showing you, the YouTube channel, because in my channel, 3 videos is not enough. 10 videos is not enough. There's a lot of subjects that if you can scroll down, I'm trying to explain lower grades. I'm trying to explain what is purification rundown. I'm trying to explain the life of LRH is there. I'm trying to do, there in the middle, there's an interview that you have there with Karen de la Carriere, class 12.
Okay.
It's there. And what you spoke that day in English is totally unavailable for people that only can speak Spanish. So what I did in that video is try to speak in Spanish what you 3 guys were talking about, Janis, Mark, and Karen. So the people know, okay, this is what they spoke, this is what they think, this is what a class 12 auditor thinks. This is his opinion, So we scroll a little bit more down on the channel and we finish with this, Mark. So
that's the bottom of the page.
The 14, how is an auditing session? How is actually a professional auditing session? And I go through the HCOB, how to set up a session and an emitter, and I explain to the people what is actually an auditing session. And not everything is just confessionals, not everything is just sex checks. There's a lot of different processes, rundowns, etc. So that's the kind of videos. And that's the end of the page because you are in home. If you go to videos, more of them are gonna appear up there. No, up.
Here we go. Yeah.
Oh,
exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. So what's the bridge? What's the chart? The Scientology chart.
Right there.
Exactly. The lower grades. What's the bridge? All these kind of my training. What do I believe as a person? One of the videos explain what's my viewpoint. What do I believe? I have interviews that the last video, the first video on the bottom. It's an interview to another staff member that was with me in the mission, and he's outside Scientology, and I'm interviewing him, and he's explaining all these books and more books and rewriting the books and selling again and again and again the books. He was telling about all this money, grabbing money from the public schemes. He was talking about that, and he was very disaffected about that because he was helping to sell books, but he knew it was just change it. What it was writing there, it was just change it, and again selling the books again and again to the public. So yeah, so in all those videos, I'm just trying to make the people more aware of what Scientology really about.
Yeah,
and yeah, that's
it's funny. I kind of agree with what your timeline. You know what I mean? Because Janis will attest. I mean, L. Ron Hubbard believed what he was doing. His research. He wasn't just doing this just as a scam. I mean, he really cared about what he was doing and that type of thing. But then the paranoia, due to the fact that he was on the run because the IRS and governments and people were after him, that overtook, and then his paranoia. He was in hiding from 1979 until the day he died, and then the only information he got was via David Miscavige and Pat Broker. And L. Ron Hubbard was behind a lot of setting up the Religious Technology Center and the Mission Network takedown and things like that, based on information false supplied to him by Miscavige, But his paranoia was, I got to protect everything, and it ended up destroying what he was trying to create, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, he was actually in hiding longer than that, Mark, because after getting kicked out of Rhodesia, Zimbabwe, and going back to England as a unwanted alien, he had nowhere else to go. So that's why he started the Sea Organ, the ship. And then we became the mystery ship, because nobody knew, what did we do? Where'd they make their money? And then we come up with this short story that, we trained businesses, executives for businesses, because we started bringing in the students from the various orgs. But it was still a security point of, you don't say where the ship is, because then people would track down Hubbard and want to talk to him or arrest him or who knows what. So it's
and that's when the Apollo stars came in. That's when the Apollo stars came in with Neil Sephardi as the PR image thing in the ports, so that good roads, fair weather,
Yeah.
Yeah, and it actually started earlier than that, because the founding church of Scientology in the 1960s was raided by the Food and Drug Administration, and all the e-meters were confiscated. This is before Scientology was a religion. They confiscated all the e-meters and materials, and they wanted to bar them and ban them. And it took years and years for Scientology to fight that. So it wasn't something he was creating in his mind. Governments were after him. Do you know what I mean? There were things. The Australia ban, right, Janis?
Yeah, I lived through that, with Scientology being banned in 1965. And the guy who did the investigation knew and did not want to ban it because he knew that would create problems. But then they banned it anyway, and over 100 families, pack up and leave the state, and it became a mess.
Yeah. And then getting into the UK, we've talked about that too. You couldn't get into the United Kingdom if you were a Scientologist for a while.
If you went through Ireland and went over that way, that's how you got in. Otherwise,
we're talking about
Roberto.
Go ahead, Roberto.
Yeah, so we're talking about the LRH right now, and we're talking about this gradual hiding and gradual defending itself and feeling all these attacks. And I want to say this because I think this is very important. For me, there's three books that are, if you don't read those 3 books, you cannot understand LRH. So the first book is A Barefaced Messiah. A Piece of Blue Sky is the other one. Mm-hmm. But the other book, and if you don't read this one, is not complete, is Janis' books.
Oh, my 2 books.
No, listen. This is very
Janis'
important.
Books, listen,
this is very important. You can see that photo. I love that photo.
Yeah.
I love that photo.
The first book.
That photo. I love that photo. Why? Because you have a person that is almost a child looking at LRH all the time as he was advancing in his life. So you have a witness. You have a witness. Janis was a witness, and in the books is the other face. We have the bare-faced Messiah, but we have the other face, and there's no people on the planet but Janis that can tell us that part of the story. So the story needs to be objective, and you need to have both sides of the story. So for me, now that I'm not working exactly, and I'm waiting book 3. I'm waiting for book number 3. Okay, so
yes,
please,
yes.
So now I'm not working. Now I'm having rest in my house. So now I'm gonna buy the 2 books, the digital ones, because the physical ones, Janis is gonna send those to my daughter in Florida. She's gonna do that in the future.
I thought I did that.
I never gave you the information. So sorry, my bad.
Okay.
That was my bad. Don't worry. But in the meantime, I'm gonna have the digital, the Amazon digital ones, and I'm gonna read them because I need that part of the information also. I need to understand that part also from a person that was there, and then you can have a clearer picture, and then you can say, okay, I understand now better all these huge subject called Scientology around Hubbard.
The third thing I was going to mention is Janis's book go to a certain point, but then our channel picks it up, and we've interviewed people and told the stories. Janis did a whole messenger series on our channel. We've interviewed Ken Urquhart, LRH's personal communicator. We've interviewed who was his butler. We've interviewed so many different former Sea Org members or people close to Hubbard. We know because Janis and I were there when Hubbard died and Miscavige took over. I mean, we were personal witnesses to what went on. You know what I mean? So like that part of the story is there too. If anybody's interested, just watch the videos on our channel. We try and put them in playlists, but it gives a broad picture. Like you said, the Barefaced Messiah shows L. Ron Hubbard's early life and the lies and the this and the that and the abuses. And then you pick it up with Janis's book, which shows somebody who actually was with him 6 hours a day, 7 days a week for many years. And then we've got our channel, which covers, the history after that. So anyway, it can give people a complete picture.
Exactly. As far as books is concerned, is those 3 books. And then we come to the newer era, the digital era, the internet, the video era. And that's where the channel comes. And I told you this like 8 months or 10 months ago. I told you this in an email. I told you this, Mark. I told you that's why it's so important to support Peeling the Onion channel, the Peeling the Onion channel. I told you that's why it's so important, because it's just a record of all these kind of witness, a witness and another witness and another one and another one and another one. Karen, a lot of people that were inside. So in the future, for future generations, it's not only gonna be these 3 books. It's gonna be the 3 books and all the peoples on the channel, all the videos, and the people can say, okay, all this history is here. It's not only what the TV channel of Scientology says. It's not only the YouTube channel of the Church of Scientology. This is the other part of the story, and this completes the whole subject.
Yeah, because we have interviewed a lot of people that were on the ship with me, and they worked with Hubbard and saw him. And the first 2 books you bring up by Russell Miller and John Atek, great books, but neither of them never met him. So they had to research it, and I don't have history on what Hubbard was like before I met him. But I have that history of where I met him. And I worked with him 6 hours a day, for 11 years until he went off into hiding. So those are my stories in there.
Yeah. And the other thing too is like Roberto and Janis. I mean, we are not going to be here forever. Me, you, and Roberto. 100 years from now, though, these videos and these books hopefully will be around, so that if people are interested in finding out about L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology, they'll have a complete picture, and they can make up their own mind and decisions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very important. It is very important, actually. It is.
Because, oh, go ahead.
No, because a lot of subjects in the future are going to develop like Scientology. It's going to happen. And people are going to know where the things can go wrong, where the things can go dark. And it's going to be like very important information to be able to differentiate what is a cult, what is a religion, distinguish both of them.
You know, a parallel, and it's not an exact parallel, is like the Mormons, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They, whoever, Joseph Smith in the 1800s, believed that this guy came to him and told him all this stuff and all that. And it became the basis of the Mormon religion, right? And they were very small then, and then they got moved around, and now they're everywhere. And you know what I mean? It's 100 years, 150 years later, and you can read about the Mormons, and they had lots of, they weren't perfect people or anything like that back in the 1800s, but they're still around today trying to do good work. And there are people that believe in it, and they've got beliefs that are not similar to Scientology's, but they're out there, and, we're really talking about faith here to some degree too, not just necessarily reality. I mean, there's a lot of things that we all have to take on faith because we really don't know for sure. Like, we really don't know for sure what happens when we die, right? But I have faith that I know. You know what I mean? Exactly.
Yeah. And regarding this situation about this religion you were telling about, I have an interesting question for you to maybe. I would like to have your opinion on this. What do you think is going to happen to Scientology once David Miscavige dropped the body?
Yeah, I've asked that question myself before.
Any change? Do you think is possible? Any change? Do you think that change is going to come? That's a question that is triggering my mind for a lot of years.
Yeah, I do think so, because there's a lot of good people in there who have that. You take Mark Yeager. If DM wasn't in the picture, Yeager would have been great to have taken over and run things. I'd probably still be in there because I really liked working with Mark, and he was very sane, and he let you talk and explain things, and he wouldn't blow up and yell at you and do all these injustices. That's when I worked with him. But so if Miscavige and his whole attitude is gotten rid of, and someone who knew better and applies the policies, then he could change things around, though it's going to be a lot of work, because you've got a lot of Sea Org members in there now that were born into the Sea Org, and they've been raised and through this, and they don't know any better. And that's going to be a major issue.
Plus, they follow the policies of L. Ron Hubbard, and they cannot be changed, So they follow that stuff. Now, somebody smart would go like, well, Miscavige is not following L. Ron Hubbard's policies. Let's get rid of the Miscavige part. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I agree with you. The people that Janis, he got rid of just about everybody that was close to Hubbard or anybody around. They're no longer there, or they're so old that there is no way. They're older than he is, and they won't be around, much longer. So I find it curious because, he does these events and all that. It's just him, right? You don't see any young person that as a face of Scientology coming forward. There's nobody that he's putting out there. Number one, because Miscavige doesn't trust anybody, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so there is no up and comer that everybody goes like, oh, well, this is the natural person who's going to take over,
Exactly. Yeah. So Mark, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I mean, they have a lot of money and they have a lot of real estate, and they are still classified as a religion. If he were to die tomorrow, okay, somebody somehow would, be made in charge, and then they would continue. And then if they're sane, they'll stop some of the practices like making it. No, they'll continue the donations because they don't have any other way that they know to make money. Do you know what I mean? And unfortunately, but it'd be like Janis. I agree with you, Janis. It's a hard ship to turn. They're going to have a difficult time doing it.
Yeah.
Mark Jagger is older. Maybe he's not going to be there. There's, Gillham Lesebre. I don't even know where is he, what is he doing
Yeah,
now?
he's old. He's older too.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's
That's
older
what I'm
than
trying to say.
Jaeger.
Everybody that knew the good, the white Scientology, the bright, the uptone Scientology is not gonna be. And all the lieutenants, all these new, we are MDF, CR members, like this Harris guy, this Osa guy, he was saying we are just tough. We are tough. Maybe all of them are coming like that. So that's the future. Maybe that's the future, because the old timers maybe are not going to be there. So that's what's triggering my mind. What's going to happen?
Yeah, that's the problem. These kids that have come in, they don't know any better.
That's what I'm trying to
say.
And
that's how they think you deal with people, is you get nasty to them and you invalidate them and you put them down, and they don't look at what is greatness.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, it's funny too, Roberto, like people like Mike Rinder and some of the people that stayed in after Janis and I left and put up with the beatings and the this and the that, Guillaume Leserve and all that. They stayed because they believed L. Ron Hubbard was coming back and that he was going to come back and fix it. I mean, that's how ingrained, you know, the belief is about reincarnation, and that Hubbard said he was going to come back and we'll just wait it out. And then it proved to be, well, that didn't happen. So, you know what I mean? It's like, that's the mindset of a lot of these older Scientology Sea Org members and stuff.
Well, Saj, who was with Hubbard when he was passing away, Steve Fouth, who's also now passed on, but he even said when Hubbard was dying, he said he's not coming back. And a lot of people don't know that, because Pat Broker and Miscavige are up there saying he's coming back.
I don't even think that he knew if he was coming back or not, because I think he believed that that he had the ability to do it. But I mean, we have no proof of anybody coming back and saying, "Hey, I'm this person. I remember everything." You know what I mean?
Who knows if he got caught in an implant?
Yeah,
exactly.
Or if he's off on Mars or something.
Yeah. But I mean, he was OT whatever, so he was free of all that stuff. Anyway,
no, he wasn't.
I know. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Yeah, but what I'm trying to say, he even left some writings telling about, I'm gonna go to the objective number 2. He was trying to say, I'm not coming back. I'm gonna go to the stars. I'm gonna, in a poetic maybe way, but he was trying to say, don't wait for me, Argentina. That's what he was trying to say.
Yeah, and then in retrospect, though, too, it was a PR statement too, so that people would continue in Scientology and not go like, "Oh, he's gone, and now where are we going?" You know, it was to keep people thinking forward. You know, the public and the staff. You know, because otherwise it's kind of like, what do we do now? You know.
So Mark, this that we are talking right now, that's the answer to one of your questions before in the show, half an hour before. You were asking me about why me talking about Scientology as a cult. And that answers your question. How can I, looking at these new CR members, looking at these future guys after Miscavige arriving and taking over the power, how can I trust them if they are maybe worse than these guys? How can you say people, yes, go to the Third Church of Scientology. This is very good for you. It's impossible. Quite the contrary. So us three, good for all the good things that we achieve, good for all the wins, good for the ride, but maybe it's over. Maybe it's over forever. I don't know.
Yeah.
If they keep in the disconnection, it's going to be over, because they're just cutting ties with the outside world, which is what they're supposed to be connected to and doing something to help. Exactly. But they disconnect from it instead.
And Roberto, we've talked about this over the years too, of what would we do if we had to take back over Scientology? And we kind of said we would reform it and make it more of a Division 6 public, reach out to
Of
people,
course.
do seminars on the communications course and on study technology and lower level processing and that type of thing, and not make it a religion. Just go and, even like the Tony Robbins type, the seminars and stuff, and then get people interested and then helping them because you really, it's really a self-help more than anything else.
Yeah.
It's not a religion. Yeah.
But Mark, you would need to be able to apply just one datum of Scientology, and this datum alone. And that datum is nothing in Scientology is true unless it is true for you.
Correct.
That would give the power of canceling anything to anybody. Ellen White says, if you don't believe in something that I wrote, or if you don't think it's right, it's not right for you. It's not true for you. That's what personal integrity is. So if we have a COB, for example, Mark Yeager or anybody with this much of integrity, of personal integrity, he would be able to say, okay, guys, we are not doing any more disconnection. Sorry, get trained, grow up your confront levels, use ARC, but we are not going to disconnect anymore. Forbidden. Everything. All this donation stuff, forbidden. All these CR members being abandoned, forbidden. We are going to take care of them. All these
getting rid of all the OSA legal and private investigations and things like that. Yeah, that's an enemy. Yeah.
But you need somebody that says personal integrity reference is the key. And then we can modify everything to make Scientology useful, because what's the real goal of Scientology? The real goal is not making clears, is not making OTs. Ellen White says the real goal of Scientology is changing conditions. And it's in the tape of the 5 conditions. I remember my training. I remember my freaking training. I was not a lower level trainer. I was really trained. So in the 5 conditions tape is there. The goal is not making clears. It's not making Scientology. It's improve conditions. So everything that doesn't align with that, freaking cancel. It would be very easy. But these guys in the CR are going to be able to do it? I don't think so.
No.
No, I agree with you.
No.
I agree.
That's the truth.
But that doesn't mean it will go away. It won't go, you know what I mean? I mean, Hubbard's writings will still be out there. You know, they're
why the channel
they're sealed in titanium plates and mountainsides. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, there's also the independent field, the end zone, the end zone. What are they called? The free zone.
Free zone.
Free zone,
free zone, and the independent people and Ronzorg. All those people are still going to keep going. You know, they're not going to go away. But the official church, which is supposed to be there to do correction and qualification activities on that whole field, is not doing its job.
Exactly.
They're doing something else rather than making sure that everything's being delivered properly and change is happening.
Exactly.
Yeah, and all of mankind, though, too, and all of mankind has been searching for answers to the great questions of life, you know what I mean? And that's going to continue. I mean, we have all these independent Scientologists that are researching their own OT levels, and they're doing this and they're doing that, right? But there's also religions that they're all looking into different things. And Buddhism's been around forever, and, you know, all these different things have been around for a long time. Nobody has the total answer, because if they did, we'd all be following it. You know, that's what I realized. That's what I realized when I left in 1990, when I was down in Texas and I saw this little itty bitty Dynetics mission, not even a mission, in Houston, which was the 4th largest city in the United States. And then I see Microsoft in 1990 taking off. 92% of the people using computers use Microsoft. I'm going like, well, if Scientology has the answers, they would be as big as Microsoft. They wouldn't be, you know, an ant.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, truth be told, that's a reality, and that's what we're facing right now. That's why the channel is so important, because it's attractive.
What are your plans going forward with the channel, and you know, with what you're going to be doing here with your time off and everything?
Well, with my channel, with my Spanish speaking channel, I'm going to try to do more videos with specific subjects that are very misunderstood, try to clarify them, and just letting the people make up its own mind, but informed by somebody that really knows the subject. So yeah, that's the plan. I don't know if that was your question.
Yeah. I just wanted to see, because I just wanted to see where you're at now and where we're going. Like, what's your plans for the future in regards to this? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Anything that can be informing the people a little bit more deeper. That's part of my plan. Because as I told you, all this kind of information in the channel is not available in Spanish. There's nobody talking about this kind of stuff. So that's what I did the channel. And yeah, for somebody that really wants to know, it's finding a lot of answers there. So yeah, I'm happy. I think I'm.
Can you give
Can
give people how they can find your channel on YouTube? Is there an address, or how they can find you, or is it in Spanish, or what's the deal?
Yeah. I mean, if you put that title there, Cienciología, Scientology, lo que necesitas saber, that means what you need to know. So if you put all that there and you put search, sooner or later you're gonna find one of my videos.
Come up.
Because that's the title of the channel. And if you filter, only give me channels, not videos, it's gonna be the first one there. If you filter, okay, channels, this name, channels, so it's just gonna be there. So yeah, I'm doing this just because of the scale of motivation. You remember the scale of motivation, and sense of duty is high on the scale. It's not personal motivation, it's not personal gain, it's just duty. And that's what I'm trying to do with the channel. I mean, I don't live by that. I don't have any fight against anybody. I have my own job, I have my life. But I think it's my duty to inform the people, because all the other auditors that I know that are my friends and left Scientology, all of them are super scared. They are super scared about OSA. They don't want to speak. They want to go under a rock.
Yeah.
Don't find me. I'm not existing. Please don't look at this side. Please. They are freaked out. And I think that somebody needs to speak about this kind of stuff, even if it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people are under the radar because they're afraid of OSA, Office of Special Affairs, but a lot of them also have family members who are still in the Sea Org. And
or in Scientology.
If they come and do an interview with us, that it's going to really ruin that relationship. And they're there so that if that person decides to leave, they've got someone they feel safe with that they can go to.
Yes.
Because they don't all know about the Aftermath Foundation and that type of thing, or some are probably afraid. I mean, it was scary. At 34 years old, never having been in the WOG world, as we called it. I was barefoot and pregnant with no money, no credit report, no nothing. And you got to start from scratch. And that's why people would be afraid to leave.
Yeah,
that's my story. That's your story. That's Mark's story. You need to start from not zero, below zero.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and there's a lot more information out there and resources, because when Janis and I left, there was no internet. There were no cell phones. Janis had to find me in the yellow pages or white pages. In the phone book.
Pages.
Wow, amazing.
through my ex-wife's father. That's how she found me. That was not easy.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, nowadays it's totally different. Well,
we've reached the end of this show. Janis, why don't you hold up your book, your book 1 and then your book 2, so people can see it. If you're interested in ordering Janis's, you can get an autographed copy of her book. We've got a link. You'll see it there listed on the products. You can click it on there, and she'll autograph it personally to you and send it to you. It's got lots of photographs in there too, which are really great. And show book 2. You've got book 2 as well.
Yeah, lots of photos throughout.
Yeah.
And then
book 2 is right here.
You can also get it on Amazon if you want it overnight. They do. They print it as soon as they get an order.
But anyway, you can click on the link there, and you can order it through our site, and she'll autograph it and send it to you. And then the other thing I have to mention is we've got Janis's OUTBACK Naturals. Complete liquid multivitamins. ditch the pills, drink the power. Vites.com is her website, but you can also order that down below as well at our website. And like I've said before, it's a 30-day supply of all your vitamins that you need daily in a liquid form, peach flavored. You keep it refrigerated. It's easy to use. It tastes good. And it's so much easier than taking a handful of vitamin pills. But anyway, we've had people have been commenting that they like it. And you know, it's been going well, right, Janis?
Yeah, it has. It is selling well. And yeah, people are loving it.
That's great.
So it's good.
Great. And then the other thing too, if you would, please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Rock slam that like button, hit that notification button so you know when our next videos are coming out. We appreciate that. Questions or comments? I know we've been talking about, you know, people have different viewpoints about what we've been talking about here today. Let us know your viewpoint. You know, we'll respond to you.
We will.
We appreciate the questions and the comments, you know, because this is an open forum. So we appreciate that. If you'd like to support our channel, you can buy us a coffee. There's a link in the video description on how to do that. And if you want to become a member of our channel, hit the join button on our YouTube page and then follow the instruction on that. And that's just a way of financially supporting our channel, keep us going and cover expenses. Anyway, I know there's a trash truck out here right now. Lots of stuff going on. Yeah.
Normal. Welcome to
USA. Monday is trash day in Vegas.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else, Janis or Roberto, would you like to say before we end it off?
No, thank you. That's fine.
No,
thank you, fun. Roberto. I've enjoyed these chats with you.
Oh yeah, me too. Thank you very much.
And go to Roberto's channel if you speak Spanish. Go and click on that and join and follow his videos. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.